In today's video, how many calories is too low?
All by myself.
Hey guys, what's going on? Happy Thursday, welcome to the video. Today we're gonna talk about how many calories are too low when it comes to cutting in a situation where you have an active job. So for those that aren't aware, I have an Instagram. It's right here on the screen. You go there, you send me a direct message, I screenshot it, I make a video about it, and I try to help not only the person that sends the question, but hopefully these questions that I'm addressing are helping lots of people out. And I gotta say, thank you guys for all the amazing feedback. I've been getting so many DMs lately that aren't actually questions. They're just saying thank you for the content. And I gotta tell you, after going to the Arnold and after, getting these types of DMs, it really just encourages me to continue doing these type of videos, because honestly, when you see the numbers on the screen, it doesn't really give you like a feeling of how many people are listening and watching, because it's just like numbers, right? But when people come up and personally thank you, makes my day. So thank you guys for all the positive feedback. I do not plan to stop this anytime soon. I really enjoy doing it and giving back. And so I want to talk about how many calories is too low, how many calories is too few, because I do think there is such a thing. Because a lot of times we can get caught up in trying to create a caloric deficit through really restricting calories. And there's plus and minuses to that. Let's talk about the benefit of restricting calories. So when you restrict calories, you create a caloric deficit through reducing how much you eat. How much time does that require? It requires no time. That's the real benefit in my mind. Simply reducing how many calories you eat per day does not change your schedule in any way. In fact, it might make it easier because you're eating less, right? But you get my point, okay? However, if you want to create a caloric deficit through activity or cardio, that can actually take up time. So if you want to keep eating the same amount of food, but just do cardio, you might have to do a substantial amount of cardio. Whereas if you just want to reduce your calories, well, you might not have to do any extra cardio. But here's the caveat to that. I find the food issue to be when calories get very, very low, the only way to create a caloric deficit then is through activity, okay? You can't eat negative calories. And in fact, I find there are some thresholds that I just do not like to go below, especially with my athletes that are gonna get on stage, especially with people that are concerned with either performance or lean body mass, or even possibly more importantly in your situation, your job. You operate a forklift, as you mentioned. Well, you don't wanna be going to work lightheaded, not being able to function with your job. So there is such a thing in my mind as too low calories. So how do we know what they are? Well, the first thing that we can look at when we start to get too low is the 10x marker, meaning when you are taking in less calories than 10 times your body weight, that's when Coach Paul starts to really pay attention to what we're doing. What is your sleep like, okay? What is your training like? What is your recovery like? So make sure once your calories are below 10 times, which it's certainly fine to go below that. My point being, that's when I start to pay attention. So let's talk about my other threshold markers. How much protein are you taking in a day? My lowest that I'll let someone go is 1 gram per pound, especially when we're talking about lean individuals who are doing some resistance training, or in your case, a very active job. So you didn't mention your weight, but I'm gonna say you're 180 pounds. I would have a threshold for you of 180 grams of protein per day, bottom line. Then we're gonna talk about fats. Fats are also gonna be more stable than carbohydrates. So with fats, for a man whose body requires sex hormones to operate, I'm not gonna let fats get really below 40 grams. That's pretty much my basement. It might even be 45 or 50 for older individuals. But 40 grams is pretty much my basement when it comes to cutting calories. Now for carbohydrates, there's a little bit more of a variance there, okay? But anytime an adult male who's very active is getting 100 grams of carbohydrates or lower, that's when I really start to pay attention. That's when we make sure we're doing things like refeeds, diet breaks, maybe multiple day refeeds, and just paying attention. But as you see, with our calories at that range, how are we gonna create a deficit to get leaner? It's gonna have to be through activity, okay? And this is why I'm a big fan of low intensity, steady state for people that are lean. I love HIIT cardio, for people that have a little bit more body fat, have a little bit higher calories, have a little bit more endurance, okay? And can push through some sessions and not be super tired or super hungry after. But for someone like yourself, it sounds like you've already got the activity part figured out, and you just need to know where to go with your calories. So if you're paying attention to them, what are some of the warning signs for someone whose calories might be getting too low? Well, obviously sleep can become an issue. Hunger can become an issue. If you find that you're walking into the kitchen and binge eating, overeating, obsessing a little bit about food, that tells me that calories might be an issue, okay? So there are some warning signs, okay? Fatigue, things that allow you to kind of go, you know what? You got to know yourself here. You got to know you're in a place where things are not as good as they could be. So whatever your goal may be, but I'm assuming if your calories are that low, it's going to be fat loss or losing body fat. But for some people, it's just general weight loss. For other people, it's actually competing or doing a photo shoot, or they just want to get lighter in their weight for their performance sport, like making a weight class for, say, a powerlifting meet. But overall, when calories get too low, you'll just start to notice the warning signs that tell you, you know what, there's something going on here. Pay attention. That's when you can use something like a refeed day. Now, to reference what a refeed day should look like, I did that video yesterday, so that worked out well. Well, that's gonna be it for me today, guys. Hope this answers your question, my friend, and I will talk to you guys tomorrow.
All by myself.